My friend Irma from Weltefrieden, she'd given me some more stickers for Karl's butt. So now that he was all nicely painted, finally, I put his name and his home port on the back of the boat, and it looks really nice and fancy, I think. There's only one tiny little problem, like usual. There's water coming into my stuffing box, or whatever it's called. Like where the shaft is sealed up from the water. I think I burnt it a little bit when I came back from the marina, like from the heart into the water, so I don't know if it's that or whatever it is, that when I go a little bit higher in gear, like if I give a little bit more throttle, then there's water splashing all over the place, so that sucks a little bit. I'm gonna try to figure out why it's doing it and if I can fix it. Unfortunately, the rubber of the dripless shaft steel was too burnt, so I couldn't really fix it. So what I had to do is to order a new one from the States and wait for it to arrive and install it. And when I read the manual, it said, do not in any case try to change this dripless with a boat inside the water. Well, of course, we had to take up this challenge. The most tricky part was probably to loosen the bolts that were around the shaft, because that hadn't been done in a while. So it took me quite a while and a lot of power to actually loosen those. But once that was done, the whole job was actually not too tricky. You just had to strip the old one off and then put the new one on, and then you mount this little metal ring on the shaft, and then you pull back the rubber of the dripless shaft, and you move the metal ring a little bit closer. So when once that is tight and you let go of the rubber, there's a little tension between the two, and there's a little bit of water in between them, which will lubricate the whole thing, and then you're not supposed to have any water coming in anymore. I've had some trouble with my autopilot when I needed it in stronger weather, because this autopilot that I have is actually just made for boats up to, I think, 4 or 5 tons, and my boat has like 8 to 9 tons. So I figured out on the internet that I could actually use my autopilot with my wind vane to make it go up to 25 tons. I found an old piece of wood on the boat that would be perfect to building a block for the autopilot, so I cut that, and it had a couple of holes, so I had to put some resin into it. And then I had to measure the right distance between the wind vane and the autopilot. And I mounted the block, and then I just had to build a little fitting that went into the front of the autopilot that I could connect with a screw to the arm of the wind vane. And then I just had to move the plug of the autopilot a little bit further aft so I could actually reach both the old position for the just going to the tiller, and also the new position going to the wind pilot from there. And I tried it out, and it seems to be working, at least without the movement. So all that's left is to have a little trial of this mechanism out at sea. I've been staying here in Cayo Quemando for quite some time. I think it's been probably 2 months, if not even more. And I've met so many really nice people here, so I thought it was a good idea to have a little goodbye party before Karl and me head out of Guatemala again. And it was really beautiful. Everyone brought like some stuff. Texan Mike, who's got like a restaurant here in the Bay, he brought some enchiladas, and Dave from Coriolis, he brought some self-made sushi. and I had a bit of rum and some drinks, and it was really cool because lots of people from the area came. It was cool because I did a little tour of Karl, and I was so proud because he looked so good, and everyone went inside, and there was like probably 10 or 12 people going through Karl and going like, oh, what's this and what's that, and I got to show him like all the stuff that I did on the boat, and that was pretty nice.
Ana,
¿Te gusta el barco?
sí, me gusta.
¿Sí? Mi ropa, mi cama, era todo moreno, pero lo pinté en... Vamos, Mikey. From the side.
Vamos a verme.
Down here in the Rio, so there isn't much water. There isn't much good drinking water down in the Rio anyways. There's I think something up in San Felipe, but I've never been there. There's good drinking water in the marina in Texas Bay, and this is the little special place for getting really, really, really tasty drinking water. But you can't really go with a big boat because it's kind of like underneath the cave. But this is really nice and tasty. It stays fresh a long time in your tank. And, well, because there's not a lot of water in the marina down in Texas Bay, we just went down here with the Cayuco and we're filling up some of the jerry cans to put into Karl's tanks, so we have some water for going over to Watan. But there's not a lot. Like when it rains a lot, like this whole thing is actually covered with a huge waterfall and there's like tons of water coming out. But right now it's really little, so it's taking quite a while. But what don't you do for nice and tasty drinking water? So it seems that all the projects have been ticked off the to-do list, and Karl is filled up with water, with diesel, and with food. So all that's left to do is to untie the lines and go sailing.